The EGR system might be the most misunderstood component in your engine. When it works properly, it silently reduces harmful emissions and keeps combustion temperatures under control. But when it starts failing, it triggers a cascade of problems that can cripple your entire engine system. Most drivers only learn about their EGR valve when they're staring at a repair bill that rivals their monthly rent. The frustrating part? Every single EGR failure gives you plenty of advance warning if you know what to look for. Today we're breaking down the 5 everyday signs that your EGR valve is approaching failure. Miss these signals and you might be dealing with repairs that could easily exceed $4,000 when you factor in turbo damage and DPF replacement. Sign 1. Loss of power and turbo lag. The first sign that separates alert drivers from those headed for expensive repairs: a gradual loss of power that feels like your engine is holding back, especially during acceleration. When your EGR valve begins sticking or collecting carbon deposits, it's disrupting the precise balance of exhaust gases flowing back into your combustion chamber. Think of it like trying to breathe through a partially blocked straw. Your engine starts suffocating on its own exhaust. This creates a domino effect that directly impacts turbo performance. Modern turbos are engineered to work with specific exhaust gas flows and pressures. When the EGR system malfunctions, it changes these pressures in ways the turbo wasn't designed to handle. You'll notice this first during highway merging or when climbing hills. What used to be effortless acceleration now feels sluggish. The turbo that once spooled up instantly now has a noticeable delay, what professionals call turbo lag. Here's what's happening under the hood. A failing EGR valve either stays partially open when it should close or closes when it should open. When it sticks open, it floods your intake with hot exhaust gases when you need maximum power. When it sticks closed, combustion temperatures spike beyond safe limits, causing the engine management system to pull back timing and reduce power output to prevent damage. Professional mechanics know this is often the first domino to fall. Ignore this power loss and you're setting yourself up for a turbo failure within 10,000 to 20,000 miles. A $200 EGR valve could prevent a $2,500 turbo replacement, but only if you catch it early. The key is recognizing that power loss isn't normal aging. It's your engine telling you something needs specific attention. Sign 2. Black smoke from exhaust. Here's the visual warning sign that mechanics say reveals exactly what's wrong with your combustion process. Black smoke appearing during acceleration, especially under load. Black smoke isn't just embarrassing, it's expensive. Every puff represents unburned fuel leaving your engine, which means you're literally watching your money blow out the tailpipe. However, more importantly, it indicates that your EGR system is disrupting the combustion process in a potentially hazardous manner. When an EGR valve fails, it creates an imbalance in your air-fuel mixture. A stuck-open valve floods the intake with exhaust gases, reducing the oxygen available for complete combustion. The result? Rich combustion that produces black, smoke and dramatically increases fuel consumption. This incomplete combustion not only wastes fuel, but also creates excessive soot that clogs everything downstream. Your DPF starts working overtime, trying to capture all of this extra soot, leading to more frequent regeneration cycles. Eventually, the DPF becomes so clogged that it needs professional cleaning or complete replacement. Professional drivers know that black smoke during acceleration indicates specific combustion problems. Light smoke during cold starts is normal, but persistent smoke during driving means combustion temperatures and air-fuel ratios are wrong. The carbon particles in smoke don't just disappear. They coat your intake valves, clog your intercooler, and contaminate your oil. What starts as an EGR problem quickly becomes an engine-wide contamination issue that affects every major component. Fleet managers who oversee hundreds of vehicles report that drivers who ignore black smoke face repair bills averaging $3,500 within 6 months. The same problems caught early with EGR maintenance typically cost under $300 to resolve. Sign 3. Check engine light. Error codes. The third warning that separates proactive drivers from those facing system-wide failures. Specific diagnostic codes that point directly to EGR system malfunctions. Modern engines monitor EGR performance through multiple sensors that track valve position, exhaust gas flow rates, and system pressures. When these sensors detect problems, they trigger specific error codes that tell you exactly what's failing. The most common codes related to EGR failure are P0401, insufficient flow, P0402, excessive flow, and P0403, circuit malfunction. Each code reveals different failure modes that require different solutions. P0401 typically indicates a valve stuck closed or clogged passages preventing proper exhaust circulation. This causes combustion temperatures to rise beyond safe limits, triggering NOx sensors and forcing the engine management system to reduce power and retard timing. P0402 usually means a valve stuck open, flooding the intake with exhaust gases when clean air is needed. This creates the same black and power loss we've discussed earlier, while also causing rough idle and stalling problems. P0403 indicates electrical problems with valve control circuits, often caused by carbon buildup, interfering with valve operation, or damaged wiring harnesses. Here's what professionals know that most drivers don't. These codes rarely appear alone. EGR problems create secondary issues that trigger additional codes related to turbo performance, DPF operation, and fuel system management. Experienced mechanics use code patterns to diagnose the root cause quickly. A P0401 code combined with turbo underboost codes tells a specific story about carbon restriction. P0402 with rich fuel mixture codes indicates a different problem requiring different solutions. The critical mistake most drivers make is clearing codes without addressing the underlying issue. This might make the light disappear temporarily, but the problem continues developing until catastrophic failure occurs. Sign 4. Rough idle and poor fuel economy. Here's the daily driving system that reveals your EGR system is disrupting engine balance. A rough idle that makes your vehicle shake at traffic lights, combined with fuel economy that keeps getting worse. When you're sitting at a red light and your engine feels like it's struggling to maintain steady RPMs, your EGR valve is likely affecting the precise air-fuel mixture your engine needs for smooth operation. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's expensive. A malfunctioning EGR valve disrupts idle stability by allowing uncontrolled exhaust gas flow into the intake manifold. When the valve sticks partially open, it introduces hot exhaust gases during idle when the engine needs clean, cool air for stable combustion. This creates a chain reaction of problems. The engine management system tries to compensate by adjusting fuel delivery and ignition timing, but it's fighting a losing battle against inconsistent air quality entering the combustion chamber. The fuel economy impact is significant and measurable. Drivers report fuel consumption increases of 15 to 25% as EGR problems worsen. This happens because incomplete combustion wastes fuel while the engine works harder to produce the same power output. Professional mechanics know that rough idle combined with poor fuel economy indicates specific EGR failure problems. A valve stuck slightly open causes both symptoms simultaneously, while electrical control problems create intermittent issues that come and go unpredictably. Fleet operators track fuel consumption carefully and report that vehicles with developing EGR problems show consistent fuel economy degradation over 3 to 6 months before complete failure occurs. This gradual decline costs hundreds of dollars in extra fuel consumption before repair costs even begin. The smooth idle you remember isn't coming back without addressing the EGR system. Band-aid solutions like fuel additives might provide temporary improvement, but the underlying mechanical problem continues developing until major component failures forces expensive repairs. Sign 5. Frequent regens or clogged DPF. The final warning sign that reveals how EGR problems cascade through your entire exhaust system. Your DPF regeneration cycles become more frequent, longer, or failing to complete successfully. Your DPF and EGR systems work together as part of an integrated emissions control network. When the EGR valve malfunctions, it dramatically increases soot production that overwhelms your DPF's capacity to self-clean through normal regeneration cycles. Here's what happens inside your exhaust system when EGR problems develop. Incomplete combustion caused by improper exhaust gas recirculation creates excessive particulate matter, essentially tiny carbon particles that should have been burned completely during combustion. Your DPF captures these particles, but it's designed to handle normal soot levels from properly functioning engines. When a failing EGR valve doubles or triples soot production, the DPF becomes overloaded quickly. You'll notice regeneration cycles happening more often, sometimes every 200 to 300 miles instead of the normal 500 to 800 mile intervals. These regens also take longer to complete and may fail entirely, triggering warning lights and reduced power modes. Professional mechanics see this pattern repeatedly. Drivers ignore EGR symptoms for months, then suddenly face DPF replacement costs exceeding $3,000 because the filter became so contaminated it can't be cleaned effectively. The regeneration process itself reveals EGR problems. During a healthy regen, exhaust temperatures reach 1,000 plus degrees Fahrenheit to burn off accumulated soot. But when excessive soot from EGR problems overloads the system, These high temperatures can't keep up with constant contamination. Fleet managers who track maintenance across hundreds of vehicles report that EGR-related DPF failures follow predictable patterns. Vehicles showing early EGR systems that receive prompt attention rarely develop DPF problems. Those that ignore EGR issues for 2,000 plus miles almost always require a complete DPF system replacement. The relationship between EGR health and DPF longevity is direct and measurable. Maintaining proper EGR function extends DPF life dramatically, while ignoring EGR problems guarantees expensive DPF repairs within 50,000 miles. These 5 signs aren't random symptoms. They're your engine's systematic warning system telling you exactly what needs attention before catastrophic failure occurs. The drivers who get 200 plus miles from their EGR systems aren't lucky. They pay attention to these early warning signs and address problems before they cascade through the entire engine system. Remember, EGR problems don't fix themselves, they only get worse, creating more expensive secondary damage with every mile you drive. The rough idle you're ignoring today becomes the turbo failure that strands you next month. So, which of these signs have you been ignoring in your vehicle? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story might help another driver avoid expensive repairs. If this video saved you from a costly EGR system failure, hit that like button and subscribe for more professional maintenance secrets.